Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Thank you all for tuning in for your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. As you can see, Gingy's there waving to you. This is Sports Talk, episode 20. Like I said last week, it was episode 20, but this week it really is episode 20. We get to talk about who won the championship games to face off in the Super Bowl, and we're going to continue our talk about paying quarterbacks. So, Gingy, you saw the games. What'd you see? What you like?
Well, what I saw was I made a couple predictions last week on podcast, as I have with the divisional rounds and the wild card rounds before that.
As is our duty.
Yeah, and went a big offer. I was calling a Packers-Bills Super Bowl, and we have the exact opposite. So
I would like to say, after a super wild card weekend where I went 4-2, I have been 6-0 since then. And hate to say it, but I saw it coming.
yeah, I mean Tom Brady and the Bucks did what they needed to do. I mean,
explain to me.
Did what they needed to do. Okay.
I almost predicted that game to the T, Gingy. I
know.
told you Scotty's going to make a big play. And sure enough, end of the first half, somehow the Packers get on one-on-one coverage on the outside and let Scotty Miller burn them for a touchdown of like 40 yards. Are you kidding me? And then I told you there would be a big fumble by someone after they catch a ball from Aaron Rodgers. And sure enough, I got my crystal ball last week, Gingy.
Yeah, I wanted to bounce something off you, Donkey. What did you think about the field goal call? You know what I'm talking about. Fourth quarter field goal call.
Why are you playing to lose the football game? You know the other side is Tom Brady. And we as Steelers fans have said this before. You can never kick and give the ball back to Tom Brady because the game's over. Do you not realize your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers? Do you not realize your best chance to beat Tom Brady is by keeping him off the field? Matt LaFleur has done a good job there in Green Bay, by all accounts, but bro, what is with young coaches just making absolutely stupid coaching decisions? It's like they don't know how to read the books. They say they're all about using the statistics and stuff, but they always go against the books. When they should be going for it, they don't. When they shouldn't be going for it, they are. And they claim it's because the books say so. But honestly, the stats say the opposite when you look at the percentage, because most of the time, the percentage difference is a negative. And if it's a negative, it means you're doing the wrong thing.
Here's how I think of this. All right, Donkey. I feel if I was in that position, I would want my best unit on the field trying to win the game. If I was the Pittsburgh Steelers in that moment, you know what? I might kick the field goal. But you have, arguably, what you're going to have is, the MVP of the league, possibly, in 2020, and Aaron Rodgers. And you decide to put the weight of your season on your defense's shoulders against Tom Brady.
Yeah. And let's be honest, Brady had thrown 3 picks in that game. But to be fair, 2 of them were third down plays where he literally was just throwing the ball up for grabs because who gives a shit if the other team catches it? It's a punt, right? So really 1 true interception and 2, meh. I mean, I heard people trying to be like, you know what, Tom Brady? He didn't do any better than Ben in that game. And I'm like, first off, every one of Ben's turnovers put Cleveland on our half of the field. Every one of Brady's turnovers put the Packers deep in their territory. Maybe not deep, but not in pristine, only have to go 40 yards for a touchdown territory, right?
Stat line wasn't impressive, Donkey.
No, but if you watch the game, if you watch those interceptions in game, you're like, oh, yeah, they didn't. Yeah, it was a punt, right? That's how I felt, well, at least on the 2. I felt they were just punts. But, yeah, getting back to that, dude, these young coaches just, I don't know. It's like when you face Tom Brady, you forget how to coach. Is that what made Belichick so good? Wasn't actually the Belichick effect? It was the Tom Brady effect that people just don't know how to coach when you're facing Brady? Is that a thing?
Brady, it's always about execution. His preparation and execution is at the next level.
Does Giselle just distract the shit out of the opposing coaches? Come on now.
I don't know.
Do you want to get
Go ahead.
Do you want to get to the other game that had the most
Yeah.
classless football I've seen since the Cincinnati Bengals made the playoffs?
Oh, I wouldn't go as far as the Bengals, donkey.
The Bengals, at least Vontaze Burfict's hit was trying to make a play. Pac-Man Jones was getting into it with a coach. That's one thing. That shouldn't have been on the field. Let's be honest, Joey Porter was not supposed to be on the field there. The Buffalo Bills legit tried to hurt someone. Josh Allen throws the ball in someone's face like a big baby because, how dare you tackle me? Dude, you know you run the ball all the time. You know you break away from defenders all the time. Don't be upset when you get tackled. It's football, bro. Grow a pair. And maybe I'm not mad at the first offensive lineman for coming in, but the second dude who cheap shotted him from behind when he was down, classless BS. And then that's where a coach needs to put a stop to it. Did they? Or did the very next play on defense someone try to sucker punch someone? Dude, the Buffalo Bills were led by a classless coach that could not control his football team. I am glad I had a week because I would be so much more upset about this. Okay, like I said, maybe I could give the offensive lineman a break. I can't give Josh Allen a break. He's just a big baby there. And I cannot give a coach who couldn't get his team under control a break. And my bigger problem was these people went out there trying to hurt someone and you let them back on the field. Number 91 got out for one play and then was put right back on the field. Those offensive linemen came out to block for the field goal. I can't respect that. I cannot respect that. I lost almost every ounce of respect I had for the Bills. And honestly, I hope that team collapses now because that was some classless BS trying to hurt a football team right before they go to play in a Super Bowl. Like, dude, that's... I don't know what to say there. Like, Kansas City dominated that football game from top to bottom.
Yeah.
And the Buffalo Bills ended it in the most classless way I could ever see.
Yeah, I hear all your points, especially that play by Josh Allen. It's he's a young man. That's his real first big game, donkey. I hear you. I hear your comments about the coach. Everyone was caught up in the moment there. Nobody got hurt.
Thankfully. No thanks to the terrible refereeing that let it happen and the terrible coaching.
Yeah, there were definitely some problems there, and the Bills kind of looked like that was their first time there in a long time.
Dude, they honestly made me gain some respect for the Bengals. Like, I was like, wow, I don't think the Bengals were even that bad. Like, I think Marvin Lewis, right? That was their coach at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, he seemed to have more control of his team than frickin' Sean McDermott does.
I don't know about that. See, that's a little extreme.
Hey, Marvin Lewis, it was only one play. Like
all
that,
I remember is Antonio Brown laying looking like lifeless on the turf, and he could have got CTE right in that moment.
Vontaze Burfict is a POS, but I mean, at the end of the day, you and me, we grew up in 90s football. You know darn good and well, 90s football, that's a legal play. Let's not pretend it wouldn't be. If that was done in 1990 to Wayne Corbett running across the middle, that's legal. If it was done to Yancey Thigpen running across the middle, that's legal. Knowing what we know now, rightfully so, it's not legal. But, I mean, it wasn't after the play trying to do something dirty to someone. Yeah, stuff happens between the lines. People make stupid plays. I mean, Ryan Shazier paralyzed himself on a terrible hit. Leading with the helmet. Leading down. I mean... how many times did we see Debo just kill a Cleveland Brown player? Like, do you remember Colt McCoy?
Yeah.
So the older I get, the less that one infuriates me because, I mean, it is Vontaze Burfict, so there's no room for doubt, and the dude's a dirty dude. But, I mean, at least it was in the field of play. I think that's where I've gotten a little bit more accepting of it, personally.
Yeah. Yeah, so, moving forward, that sets us up for a Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady, young blood, new blood, Super Bowl. What do you think there?
No offense, but all you Aaron Rodgers lovers out there who want to say Aaron Rodgers is better than Brady, case in point, Tom Brady's the man. Don't step on the GOAT. There is one person, though, in the NFL who maybe has a say at the GOAT throne. And we get to see that matchup next. Woo!
It's
More to
gonna
come
be
next week
good.
on this one, because there's so much to talk about the past versus the future. But what I want to point out to you is something really, really fun I noticed. So normally, when you pay a quarterback, it doesn't look good for your Super Bowl chances. But this year in the NFL, we had something really, really odd. All 4 quarterbacks in the NFC are paid quarterbacks that were the last 4 standing. Breeze, Brady, Rodgers, Goff. All 4 paid quarterbacks. Or the NFC, excuse me, I said AFC. NFC. Do you know what we had in the AFC?
Well, let's name those quarterbacks. That's
4
the last one.
quarterbacks on rookie contracts. Mahomes,
Yeah. Jackson.
Allen, Jackson, Mayfield.
Yeah.
All 4 still technically on rookie deals because Mahomes' big contract doesn't kick in till next year. He's still making less than 2% of his team salary cap this year. Well, about 2%. I guess it's less than 3. It's like 2.6 or something.
And it
So that
shows
got
on
me
all
thinking.
those teams. It shows on all those teams. There's versatile weapons on all those teams on offense and defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Go
it got
ahead.
me thinking. Can you pay a quarterback and make a Super Bowl? Not make the playoffs, because there are plenty of good quarterbacks who win football games. Can you make a Super Bowl paying a quarterback? So I look back at the last 5 years. And how often in the last 5 years would you say a quarterback in the top 10 being paid in the top 10 biggest salary cap hits for quarterbacks, how many times would you say they made the Super Bowl? So that's going back to the 2016 season.
Just to 2016.
Yeah, last 5 years, including this year, the last 5 years. How many times has a quarterback who's in the top 10 in terms of being salary cap hit for a team, or in terms of his salary cap hit, made the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't know, Donkey.
2. Can you tell me who those 2 quarterbacks were?
Less than 10%? Over 10%? You said?
Just in the top 10 of quarterbacks paid. So you take the top 10 quarterback salaries and those guys.
Is Tom Brady in that number?
This year, Tom Brady.
Did Russell Wilson
there's
make
one
the
more.
QB since 2016?
No, he has not made it since his rookie contract.
Uh-huh.
The other one is Tom Brady's arch nemesis. Eli Manning, the only other one. No, or is it Peyton? It might have been Peyton. Hold on, I think I got the wrong Manning here. I do.
Peyton Manning with the Broncos.
No, it was Eli, right? No, it was Peyton. I was right, Peyton. The Super Bowl he won.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eli, you were the year before.
Yeah, it would have been Peyton Manning with the Broncos. No,
No, it wasn't the year before. How long was he?
That makes
He was
sense.
2012. He made it as a top 10 quarterback. So both Mannings made it as a top 10 quarterback. And now here I am sounding dumb on the show. But
That was
whatever.
just since 2016. That was interesting.
Confused myself on my own stats. But
Yeah.
no, yes, it was Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Definite first ballot Hall of Famers. Definite
Legends.
MVP candidates, guys.
Yeah, top 10 all time, guys, possible.
Yeah. All right. In the past 5 years, do you know how many quarterbacks have made it on rookie deals?
A lot. Those teams are typically very successful.
Mahomes
You find a good
twice.
rookie. If you have a good rookie quarterback, you have much resource to spend and allocate in other places. So yeah, definitely. Mahomes and Goff and I don't know who
I was
else.
wrong anyway. Peyton Manning would have been the season before. The other guy on that list was the MVP of the season. That's what I thought. Now that's why I got confused. Was the MVP of the season was Matt Ryan. So let's restart this whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and say the 2 quarterbacks that made it as top 10 quarterbacks, top 10 paid quarterbacks in the last 5 years was Matt Ryan in his Super Bowl and Tom Brady this year in his Super Bowl. We're the only two. Peyton Manning did make it the year before as a top paid quarterback, and Eli Manning did in 2011 season. So you're talking only 2 times that a top 10 quarterback make the Super Bowl in terms of pay. And you're talking, those are supposed to be the 10 best quarterbacks in the league. And only 2 out of the last 10 quarterbacks to make a Super Bowl fit on that list. So do we look at paying quarterbacks the wrong way? This has got me thinking, and it's not about anything else anymore. Do we look at quarterbacks the wrong way? Do we expect too much out of a quarterback? Should we expect, instead of when we pay a quarterback him to be successful, should we instead expect that we paid him for what he did in the past?
Yeah, part of that's true, and part of that is that the NFL is a business. And some of these quarterbacks put people in seats. Deshaun Watson.
I agree, but I'm
money.
saying you and me as a fan, should we change how we evaluate a season? As Steeler fans, should we not be upset when we just make the playoffs? Should we be happy that Ben just made the playoffs again, and maybe he gets lucky, and maybe once he gets paid, he makes one of those Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, or Matt Ryan runs, one of those one every 20-year runs for a paid quarterback? Because let's look back at the quarterbacks who've made Super Bowls and then got paid, and then what happened? Cam Newton, Carolina goes bad after he gets paid. Colin Kaepernick, San Francisco goes bad after he gets paid. Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh doesn't make it back to a Super Bowl after he gets paid. Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay hasn't made it back to a Super Bowl since he's got paid, and people argue he's a GOAT.
Joe Flacco.
Matt Ryan, he was next on my list after Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has an MVP season, makes a Super Bowl, but Atlanta has more losing seasons than winning seasons since he's gotten paid. But they did make a Super Bowl, so they're actually kind of an outlier in this. Joe Flacco, another first-round pick, won a Super Bowl, gets paid, team gets better once they let him go. I mean, who do we want to name next? Peyton Manning's about the only exception. Tom Brady when he got paid in Tampa.
That Ravens team drafted up, though. They had an opportunity, and they seized it there to re-identify that team.
But how about Jared Goff in L.A.? How about Jimmy Garoppolo? The year they make the Super Bowl is the year he's actually not a top 10 paid quarterback because of the way they structured his salary so that they knew they would have money to spend his second year there. I mean, do we view this wrong? Should we, instead of expecting when a quarterback gets paid him to win, expect him to pay before he gets, to win before he gets paid, and then when he gets paid, we should expect maybe one good run? Should we change the way we, as a football fan society, view the quarterback play?
There's not a lot of quantity, Donkey, at that high-end top talent, that team. That quarterback that's going to redefine your team and take control of a game. There's one, maybe 2 of those every season, if that.
Right, but we're not even talking about that, because if you want to talk about greatest quarterbacks of the generation, 1 or 2 names you have to put on the list. You're going to say Drew Brees, a record setter, and you're going to say Aaron Rodgers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why, since they have got paid, do you know how many Super Bowls they have accounted for together since either one of them made 10% of their team's salary cap for the first time? How many Super Bowls have they combined for?
None.
Exactly. So should we redefine how we evaluate football teams, especially football teams that pay a quarterback? Like, should we look at them and be like, hey, you know what? If you made the playoffs, you're actually good. Like, I mean, Eli Manning's one of the outliers here, for God's sake, somehow. Eli Manning's an outlier because he somehow won a Super Bowl. But you know how many bad Giants teams he was a part of in order for those rosters to fill?
I'll tell you what, Donkey, that's why I'm not a GM. Like, man, that's why I'm on here talking about it with you. So if I could answer some of those questions, you could put together a real roster. I'm not even saying
as a GM. I'm saying, should we as fans change our perspective?
Oh man, I don't know. This is just me personally as a fan. I'm not really thinking about salary caps on on a September Sunday afternoon when I'm watching these teams trot out there at the beginning of the season. I'm not necessarily thinking about that in terms of the money. I'm looking at the roster as a whole that they put on the team, offense, defense, special teams. But yeah, you have to find supplemental pieces and guys who will work. And if you don't have somebody on a rookie contract at quarterback, what you would have to have is somebody who's an impact maker on defense
Right.
on some sort of rookie contract. As you can see with the Steelers and their subpar offense this year, with a guy like TJ, they had a lot of opportunity with that defense at the beginning of the season. Now we all know the story, the unfortunate injuries, et cetera, et cetera. But you understand the point that I'm getting at.
Yeah, I got you, but that's also cooped with playing a super duper easy schedule, which unfortunately next year we don't get to do.
No, we did not.
But that seriously just got me thinking is, should I evaluate this Steelers season as a win? Like, I don't because I'm a Steelers fan and I won Super Bowls, but should I change my perspective to saying, you know what? All things considered, Ben won us 2 Super Bowls. We should go out there. We should just enjoy Ben Roethlisberger playing football because at the end of the day, that dude brought us 2 Super Bowls, got his money. Once he got his money, we shouldn't expect to win anymore. We should just expect to watch Ben Roethlisberger. We should just expect to enjoy what we knew we had. We should just expect to enjoy, watching him play out his career. Is that what we should get to? Like, would that be the proper way to start evaluating these quarterback talent stuff?
Well, yeah, I could see how you could take that perspective. Really, how I look at the season, is you're a few games. And I talked about this with the Kansas City Chiefs. What are they particularly good at? They make the plays in the big moments. They're not great 100% of the time. They're great when they need to be.
Right.
And there's some opportunities that the Steelers let slip through their fingertips. We've seen a lot of drop balls this season. There was, some unfortunate COVID scheduling that jerked things around. I think a veteran team kind of put a lot of steam into 11-0 and kind of lost gas at the end. There's some key injuries on that defense that had to make adjustments on the fly. And overall, I'm not at all happy with the way the game ended. It wasn't like a valiant battle between 2 arch rivals and one team to emerge victorious, and the other one was clearly the loser. If you take away that first quarter and the 28-0 head start, the rest of the points of the game add up to a 38-21 or 22 victory for the Browns. Don't quote me on that, but it's not the lopsided way that ended. Is not very satisfying for me, but overall, I consider the season a victory with what they had to deal with and all the obstacles that everyone was facing.
Right, and that's my bigger concern. Is I'm not saying the obstacles we're facing. I'm saying we expected, and we've talked about it. We expected a Super Bowl. That's what we wanted. That was what the standard was, right? Should that be the standard, though?
Yeah,
or should the standard be
what you want?
Or should the standard simply be, hey, Ben had won a Super Bowl, we should just enjoy Ben. And I'm not just saying it for us. New Orleans, should the standard be Drew Brees brought us a Super Bowl? As long as he wants to play, we should happily watch him, even though we know our team is not a Super Bowl contender. Because looking at these numbers, you are very unlikely to be a Super Bowl contender when paying a quarterback, right?
Unlikely.
You're more likely to do it on a quarterback with a rookie contract than a quarterback who's a top 10 paid quarterback. I mean, hell, you want a couple great examples? Let's look at Minnesota Vikings. What happened when they paid a quarterback? They have got progressively worse every year since paying a quarterback, right?
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I mean, say what you want. That's exactly what happened to them. What happened to the Jaguars when Bortles ran out of that rookie contract? I mean, now, to be fair, Bortles also kind of imploded and they got rid of him, but then they pay money to Nick Foles, and that just goes down the drain. There's something about having that first-round quarterback, even if he's not great, that can make you successful. So, what I'm trying to get at is here, us few teams who have that great quarterback who had won in the past, should we be okay with seasons like this? If you're the Steelers, if you're the Packers, or these seasons, if you're the New Orleans Saints, if you're the Los Angeles Rams, are these seasons acceptable? Are these seasons good? Are these seasons the type of seasons that give your coach job security? Because based off of what the quarterback pay says, that's what it should be. We shouldn't expect these quarterbacks late into their career to win Super Bowls. Because very few times does a quarterback who signs a contract that makes him over 10% of his team's cap win or even get to the Super Bowl. I mean, you're looking at Matt Ryan as an exception to the rule. You're looking at Tom Brady as an exception to the rule. You're looking at Peyton Manning as an exception to the rule. But all these dudes have something in common. They're MVPs. But then I can go the other way. You also have Drew Brees, an MVP. You also have Aaron Rodgers, who have never made it back once they got paid. So should we just switch what we expect and say, hey, if my quarterback wins me a Super Bowl before he gets paid, I should be cool with 10 years of not getting back? Is that a standard that we're willing to accept? Is what I'm asking you.
Not at all. Not at all with me. But if you ask me, I think the roster that we put out in Game 1 was capable of winning a Super Bowl.
I don't think that roster is capable of winning a Super Bowl because you had to make plays to beat the Chiefs. And no offense to Ben Roethlisberger, I don't think he can make plays to beat the Chiefs. I don't think he makes enough plays to beat the Buffalo Bills.
That's where honestly, we disagree.
I don't think he makes enough plays to beat the Buffalo Bills. Because at the end of the day, look at all the quarterbacks who made it to the championships. Do you know what the difference was between the Rams and the Packers? The quarterback play. You know what the difference was between the Bucs and New Orleans? It was the fact that Tom Brady could throw the ball over the top of the defense. No offense, Drew Brees, but it ain't there anymore, bud. At the end of the day, yes, we could have won the playoff game. Yes, if we had that first team roster, I think we beat the Browns. No, I don't think we beat the Bills or the Chiefs. Because at the end of the day, those two quarterbacks were playing better than ours. And at the end of the day, you need a quarterback who's playing good in the playoffs. Nowadays, the way the league is constructed nowadays, back when Ben was making the Super Bowls, that wasn't necessarily the case. Although Ben did play good in the playoffs all the time. I'm not saying he didn't. But back when we first started loving football, that wasn't the case. Nowadays, you need the quarterback to make the plays. And there's no surprise why probably the four best seasons, arguably the four best quarterbacks this season, were the four quarterbacks left standing, were they not?
Yeah.
And I don't think Ben fits in that group. So no, I will super disagree with you. I think that defense was Super Bowl level, but the bigger problem was we played better teams at the end of the year, and they knew how to not let Ben beat them.
Yeah.
And the way you do it is you just don't turn the ball over. Teams were just protecting the ball against us and pretty much saying, all right, Ben, let's see if you can dunk it down the field. And the answer was he's not good at dinking and dunking, bro.
Yeah, the receivers weren't that good at catching dink and dunks. There was a few of those numbers in there.
There was definitely drops in there, but there was also off-target throws, bad throws. I mean, you're mixing a quarterback in a system he doesn't play well. And when you're a dink-dunk team, you're going to have drops. I mean, even Tampa Bay drops the ball, and their receivers are a lot better than our receivers.
There'll be plenty more time to discuss this as the off-season starts to unfold. I'm ready to see the end of the 2021 season, and I'm really looking forward next week to talking more about what we might see next Sunday.
Me too. I'm also looking forward next week. I might have a little fun preview of how successful are first-round draft pick quarterbacks on rookie deals and then on subsequent deals. Spoiler alert, subsequent deals don't work out very well for first-round quarterbacks. But I don't know, dude. I can't get over looking at the quarterback pay discrepancy and realizing that when you pay a quarterback, you should not expect a Super Bowl. Like, that's what it literally is showing, is that if you pay a quarterback, dude, you should just expect to be mediocre. And I don't know. It's really changing the way I view things. I really feel like now what we're doing is we're having quarterbacks win in the early part of their career, and then we should just be happy watching them walk off into the sunset. Is essentially what it looks like should be done. Like, unless you have Tom Brady, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't seem like if you pay a quarterback, you're going to do good. It doesn't seem like... I would love for someone to come in and prove me wrong and show me why I should have faith if Ben Roethlisberger comes back like he said he wants to, that I should have faith the Steelers can have a Super Bowl. I really don't. I'm really just hoping for a good year for Ben, so maybe he can go out happy if he gets here, although I think, honestly, the Steelers should cut him and then sign him at a veteran's minimum if he really is willing to not care about the money like he says. But I just don't see how paying a quarterback works. I mean, you're more likely to end up with the Matthew Stafford Detroit Lions than you are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Tom Brady. I mean, you're talking quarterbacks. Hold on. If you paid in the top 10 quarterbacks since 2016, your chance of having a winning record is barely over 500, and that's because this year the top 10 quarterbacks went 8-2 in terms of having winning records. Like, if it wasn't for this year, you would actually expect to have a losing record if you had a top 10 paid quarterback. That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it seems like it, isn't it?
It's
a weird stat.
Adding a top 10 paid quarterback to your roster, by the way, if your quarterback ends up jumping into the top 10, you're expected to have your wins increase that year. Like, the teams who've done that average increasing their wins by barely 1. Whereas if you drop a quarterback out of the top 10, the team's wins go up by 1.5. So you're more likely to be successful by dropping a top 10 quarterback, top 10 paid quarterback, than adding a top 10 paid quarterback. That's nuts. And everyone says this is the most important position. This is a position you have to pay. It seems the opposite. It seems this is the position you don't want to pay unless you have Tom Brady.
It'll eat up most of your cap. If you pay, okay, the difference between a highly paid linebacker and a mediocre paid linebacker is a much, much bigger difference than a high paid quarterback and a mid-range quarterback. It's a lot more money eaten up there.
Are you
I
saying
see
by
the point.
Quarterbacks?
Yes, by the quarterbacks, just in terms of mathematics there.
Yeah, no doubt. Because you're talking Tom Brady made the top 10 for like the first time in his career, making $25 million, where Patrick Mahomes making 2.5, right?
Yes.
I mean, you look, I don't think there was any quarterback in the AFC Final Four that was making over $3 million. That's nuts to think. Or 3% of the cap. Maybe it's 3% of the cap. And then you got the NFC that actually had a weird oddity that all 4 quarterbacks were like in the top 10 paid quarterbacks. Like, that stuff's nuts. I don't know. Speaking of paid quarterbacks, did you hear the news today?
Yes, tell us, Donkey.
Matthew Stafford going to the LA Rams. And all I have to say is, did you see what Detroit got back? Jared Goff, supposedly 2 first-rounders and a third-rounder? Bro, Matthew Stafford, injured all the time quarterback, underperforming all the time quarterback, getting traded for a quarterback who's been to the Super Bowl, is younger, has put up similar stat lines in seasons when healthy.
I think Detroit made out
2 first-rounders and a third-rounder.
Yeah, I
Dude,
think Detroit made out
about
all
a
right.
steal. I maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Matt Stafford leads the Rams to the Super Bowl. But I'm just looking and I'm saying that's a steal and a half, bro.
I agree with you.
That's nuts. I can't fathom that happened. And well, you know what? Good for all those people involved. I hope it works out for all of them the best it can, but wow.
Yeah, it's a shocker.
Anything you saw going on this week you want to talk about, Gingy?
Oh, for me, I'm interested always in the movement of up and coming AFC quarterbacks. What you're always talking about, and one who I happened to did get paid is now all of a sudden discontent. I'm enraptured by the movement of Deshaun Watson. This is one of the things where I feel like the NFL is dipping their toe into sort of the player-centric NBA market. I see a lot of this in NBA with players demanding to get out. And, this dude just basically got signed for, what, a 5-year deal last summer for life-changing money, like generational, like
Mm-hmm.
old money. And a year later, all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, he's saying stuff about, what, he won't want to be here. And I'm interested to see how this plays out.
Houston, at least at the beginning, has said they're not going to trade him just to trade him. Side note, he's another one of those quarterbacks who everyone says is the definition of franchise quarterback. And I'm like, by franchise quarterback, do you mean a quarterback who can't win without a supporting cast? Because look at what he's done the last couple of years. And I'm not saying he's been surrounded by great talent, because he hasn't. But dude, if you're that quarterback they're saying you are, you make that talent great.
It's a terrible line there.
And say
He
what you
can't
want.
make
This
that
year
great.
without this year without DeAndre Hopkins looked bad. Like, if you showed me tape on this year's Deshaun Watson, he's the 10th best quarterback in the AFC. Nah, that's a little harsh. No, that might be right. I'd say there's about 2 in every division that I would take above him. And it's nothing against the kid. He's got the talent. He's got the arm talent. He's got the mobility. I just don't see trading away your future for him. And that's what it would take, right? It'd be like what the Rams did to end up with Jared Goff, right? Like 5 first-rounders.
Yeah. Basically.
And he's already getting paid is the problem.
Yeah. Big
If
money.
I'm giving up what they want for Deshaun Watson, I'm getting Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields or whoever you feel is the best quarterback prospect. I'm getting him at a rookie deal.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a guy who has proven, and you can blame it on the coach, but is a guy who hasn't been there and has already got paid like he's been there twice. I'm not taking that guy. That's just me personally, but I'm also on the board with the you don't pay your quarterback, although I'm starting to change. I'm more on the board if you paid your quarterback and he won for you, you pay him. If he won for you, you can pay him and just enjoy his years. I'm starting to turn that way, but I don't pay a quarterback who hasn't won. I mean, I'm not paying Jared Goff, or not Jared Goff, that's a bad example. I'm not paying Jimmy Garoppolo, although ironically he won after getting paid, so another bad example. But I'm not paying that Jimmy Garoppolo right now that's there. Nah, I ain't paying him.
Well, the money became astronomical at this point, 30 plus.
You're talking, and we'll see. By the way, everyone's talking about how Patrick Mahomes is going to break the deal. Let's see what happens when Kansas City has to pay him. And I'm not talking next year. I'm talking the year after next when you have 2 straight years of him eating up the cap number. Let's see the talent drop there. I mean, it's easy to say, yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, that's what everyone said with Aaron Rodgers is it's not when he gets a second or if he gets a second, it's when, right? And we're still waiting for that second. I don't know, dude. Also, shout out to Matt Canada officially being named Pittsburgh offensive coordinator, right? Officially.
The future. Yes. I believe that was
Side
official.
note, please move on from Ben because watching Ben try to run a Matt Canada offense will probably drive me in bananas, which means they're going to do it next year and Ben's going to throw for 5,000 yards, win his first MVP, and make me look like an idiot. Please do. But, bro, I don't think that's going to work.
We shall see. Lots of time for analyzing that. I'll be looking forward to it.
For sure. All right, Gingy. Anything else? Or are we going to shout outs?
We'll be going to shout outs.
All right, hit them up.
All right, I'm looking to, shout out to the 2021 season. Weird football this year. Lots of different things happening, looking into. Saw some great plays, and I'll be definitely looking forward to be looking back more on that. But, we're coming down to the last game. It's weird not going to have any football tomorrow, and I'll be looking forward to the final game of the season next weekend. It's going to be great.
Hey. We got a fake football game going on, don't we? Come on now. Let's have a little fun with the fake football Pro Bowl, right?
I don't think that's going down. I'd have to look into that.
Probably not, but I mean, we used to have a fake football game. I
We
don't know.
used
I haven't
to.
been keeping up too much. COVID does stuff, makes you
know.
crazy. I'd like to give a shout out to any one of our viewers who made it to the end of this episode after I had all sorts of hubbub in the middle with the stats, man. I don't know what was going on with my computer, but bro, I don't think I could have been worse at running it if I wanted. My stats were all jumbled. I'm reading wrong names. I'm here reading Manning from 2012 when I'm trying to get to Matt Ryan from 2017. If you made it through and understood what I was saying, I'd love to hear what you'd love to see a deep dive into next, because I love looking up these stats. I love trying to see if there's any correlation there. And I would love to see what anyone would love to hear about next. And just thank you all for making it to this point, because I lost myself in the middle, and I was like, man, anyone who listens to this is a pure champ, and kudos. Love it. Thank you. I appreciate all the support. I have a few viewers out there who always talk about it, who mention some things, who send me some stuff. Send me some questions next time, not just comments like, hey, you guys are rocking it, or you guys suck, which are the two most likely comments I get. But anyway, Gingy,
Donkey
you want to take
sucks.
us out?
You know what?
Donkey sucks.
Steeler Nation, wave them if you got them. Rest up, get psyched for the Super Bowl next week. I think we're going to see a heck of a game between probably the two best teams that are out there. That's probably the two teams that should be there. There's no big surprise. A lot of people called this at the beginning of the season, and I'll be looking forward to previewing it more next week with you.